Hello, my name is Hans George Campbell. Welcome to Magazine Mondays, where we allow ourselves to go back in time by thumbing through the pages of old computer magazines. Today, we will be going back to 1990 by taking a look at the Amiga World magazine that featured the new Amiga 3000. Alrighty, here is the June of 1990 Amiga World magazine that featured the all-new Amiga 3000 computer. Amiga 3000 features 2.0 operating system, Amiga Vision authoring, networks, monitors, and more. Alright, so let's take a look inside this Amiga World magazine from 1990. Alright. The Supergen. I have the Supergen SX, which I will be showing on a future episode of the Hans Campbell Show when I show you guys how to genlock professionally and how to do titling for your videos and how to make gradient fill backgrounds and things using Deluxe Paint 3 for your titling and backgrounds and things like that. I'm going to show you how to do all of that professionally, so stay tuned for these exciting episodes. Professional Draw, I have this program in like new condition in its original box, which I will be showing. Super Corporation, one of my favorite companies from back then. They made nothing but high quality stuff. I highly recommend their Super RAM board. This is a very nice board. Very nice memory boards. This is one of the finest memory boards ever made for the Amiga 2000. It's a very nice motherboard. Very high quality. Applied Engineering. They made a lot of peripherals and boards for the Apple II computers, because I have some of them from Apple II computers. Now, ICD is not really well known as far as Amiga stuff, but for the Atari ST, oh yeah, ICD is very well known among Atari ST users. You know, that was the main company for the Atari ST. Welcome to the new generation. The all-new A3000. Now, for a lot of you, this is your favorite Amiga model, but for me, not so much, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. The Amiga 3000 was actually a poorly designed computer. It really is. Even Commodore themselves admitted that the Amiga 3000 was never meant to be upgraded. Even though it has slots, it does have expansion slots, they never thought that people would upgrade or want to upgrade the Amiga 3000 because it already has all of the upgrades that were purchased, that people normally purchase for the Amiga 2000 computer. Plus, it also had a flicker fixer scan doubler so that you could use the more modern VGA monitors with this computer. So that's the reason why it has a 140 watt power supply, okay, and it's in such a small case, which generates a lot of heat when you start adding expansion boards. So this computer was never really designed to be expanded. And a lot of companies, well, most people that bought the Amiga 3000, they bought it to use it as a graphics workstation. And it's great for that. It has everything you need for that. No expansion required. And that's how I would recommend everyone using the Amiga 3000. Okay, if you plan on using one of these computers, don't expand it. Use it the way it is. Okay? And you won't have any problems with it. When you start expanding the Amiga 3000, you will have problems with it. Trust me. It was not designed to be expandable or expanded. Also, I don't like this fancy front piece right here. I mean, yeah, I know it looks cool, and a lot of you think that looks so beautiful, you know, but it's not practical. And I'm more into practicality. I think Commodore should have just had standard rectangular drive openings here so that you can slide in your standard size PC disk drives, because a lot of the PC disk drives from that time period also work with the Amiga. A good example are the TIAC drives with the jumpers. So why didn't Commodore just make these standard drive openings so that you can slide in a couple of TIAC disk drives? That would have made this computer a lot nicer. So personally, the Amiga 3000 is not one of my favorite Amiga models. It just really is not. It has too many design flaws. I think it's a beautiful computer. That I agree with. It is a beautiful computer, but it has too many design flaws to be one of my favorites. Alrighty. Let's continue on looking through this wonderful magazine. Okay, here's the back of the Amiga 3000. And one of the design flaws of the Amiga 3000 computer is the way Commodore did the expansion slots. They have a daughter board that plugs into the motherboard, and then your expansion slots are on that daughter board, and your expansion cards plug in this way. That is a very faulty design. And yet this is also the way the Amiga 4000 is done. It too has the same faulty design. This design is so faulty that it was no longer used in newer PCs. This design, this way of doing the expansion slots was quickly discontinued for more modern PCs. No modern PC that I know of has the expansion slots done like this because of that faulty design. And this is one of the reasons why the Amiga 2000 computer blows the doors off the Amiga 3000 and 4000 as far as design. Because on the Amiga 2000 motherboard, the slots are on the motherboard, as they should be. Okay, that's a much better design. Okay, and also all of your modern day PCs, well, ever since I can remember, the slots are on the motherboard. That's where they should be. That's a much better design. Okay. Also, okay, this picture shows the inside of the Amiga 3000, which again is very small. There's not enough room there. Very faulty design. You got your SCSI hard drive sitting right here that generates a lot of heat. No place to dissipate that heat, especially when you have two disk drives installed. It's just too cramped, too crowded. The case is way too small. Very faulty design. Okay? And this picture here shows the daughter board with the expansion slots. Very poor design. Very poor design. And this here, it shows a couple of screenshots of the new Workbench version 2.0. That Workbench was very buggy. Well, they like to refer to them as bugs. I refer to them as defects, defective software. And these defects were not worked out until, I mean, they weren't corrected, they weren't worked out until Amiga Workbench 2.1, which is basically a stripped down version of Workbench 3.0. That's why the two workbenches look very similar. Okay. This picture shows the motherboard of the Amiga 3000. Again, a very faulty design. I don't know why. I mean, okay, this shows the card edge connectors that the daughter board plugs into that has the expansion slots. Faulty design. And Commodore, I don't know why they did this, they decided to use ZIF sockets and ZIF memory chips, or ZIP memory chips. Those were very hard to find even back then. I don't know why they chose ZIP memory. Okay? Especially since this computer allows you to plug in up to 2 megabytes of chip memory in the form of DRAMs, which are much higher quality. They're better made. Okay, and they don't have a tendency of popping out of the slots like the ZIP memory does. And you can have 1 megabyte of fast memory plugged in here in the form of DRAMs. 3 megabytes is plenty for most of the stuff that you want to do with an Amiga computer, especially when you have 2 megabytes of chip memory. That's plenty of memory. 3 megabytes is plenty. And if you need more memory, then just plug in a memory expansion board. okay, into one of the Zorro slots, Zorro 2 slots, or Zorro 3 slots, okay? But yeah, this is one of the faulty designs. Another thing is where the Commodore engineers decided to put this battery right here. Right smack dab in the middle of a heavily congested area. The engineer that decided to do that came up with this idea of putting the battery right there, that engineer clearly had his head up his ass. He really did. And I would tell him that to his face. I would. You know? Because now it is impossible to find an Amiga 3000 motherboard that has not suffered from battery leakage damage. Even if you manage to remove the battery and you clean that area of the board and it doesn't look like it's leaked that bad, trust me, it has. The battery acid has leaked into the sub-layers and will continue to destroy this board like a cancer. You can't clean it out. You can't. So unless someone was smart enough to remove this battery soon after they bought their Amiga 3000 computers, every damn one of these Amiga 3000 motherboards are suffering from intermittent failures, or they will suffer from intermittent failures because of the battery acid leakage. That's slowly eating away at the inner traces of this board like a cancer. So yeah, the engineer that they came up with the idea of putting the battery right there in the middle of this heavily congested area clearly had his head up his ass. And he's probably the same engineer that decided to do the same thing on the 386 bridge board. And that's the reason why today you can't find a 386 bridge board that has not suffered from battery acid leakage damage. Because it's the same thing. The dumbass put the battery right in the middle of a heavily congested area. Commodore has some real dumbasses working for them as far as, in their engineering department. They really did. I've worked with some of them. They were real dumbasses. Real dumbasses. I like this picture. I wouldn't mind having that picture in the form of like a poster or like a print that's around, 16 by 24 inches. Or even, 14 by 16 or whatever. A nice little print that I can frame and hang up in my Amiga room. That would make for a nice little print to hang up in my computer room. All right, let's continue on, shall we? Now, GVP, they were strictly a hardware-based company. They did not do any software or anything else. The only thing that they produced were these boards that plugged into the Amiga, the big box Amiga computers. And also, I think they did the hard drive, the external hard drive for the Amiga 500. But they were strictly a hardware-based company. That's all they did. And that's the reason why you see their ads saturated in these Amiga World magazines. Oh yeah. I always hated them because of this. And because of them saturating their ads in these magazines, I never bought anything by GVP. I do not like aggressive advertising campaigns like this, where they occupy so many pages, so much space in each Amiga World magazine and other Amiga magazines and publications from the time period. They were very aggressive, and I consider them, you know, companies that do that, assholes. And I never bought anything from GVP back in the day because I didn't like their aggressive advertising campaigns. I hated it. It's like they were trying to force their product down your throat. No, you're not going to force your product down my throat. No, I just won't buy your product. Yeah, I hate the way they have all these advertisements in every Amiga World magazine. I always hated that about GVP. And most of their boards, I think, suck. They really do. They suck. They made a few boards that I think are really good. One of them is the SCSI controller that will take up to 8 1 megabyte SIMs. That I consider to be one of the best SCSI controllers for the Amiga 2000. It's a very nice board. Very well designed, good quality. And I also like the Spectrum graphics board that GVP produced. It uses the same main chip as the Picasso, you know, the German-made Picasso 2 graphics board. So those two boards are actually very nice, and I do recommend those boards. But the rest of the stuff by GVP, I think, sucks. I had several of these trackballs. They suck. The ball rolled really sluggish. It wasn't a smooth rolling ball. And ergonomically, it had a nice feel to it. It looks nice, but the trackball did not roll very well. The ball itself didn't roll very well. So I actually preferred using the mouse. Now, for some reason, these books here, especially the ones that have to do with programming, are selling for very high amounts on eBay right now. I don't know why that is. But this series of books, they're selling for good money on eBay. They're averaging between 30 to 50 bucks each. Oh yeah, I kid you not, yeah. Especially the books that have to deal with programming. I have this program in its original box and complete in like new condition. In fact, I have 2 copies of it. One of them was still shrink wrapped, and I removed the shrink wrap from it. But yeah, I have this program. Yeah, this is one of the best desktop publishing programs ever produced. One of the best desktop publishing programs. And the Atari ST version of this program is the best. And it actually blew the doors off any of the desktop publishing that was available for the Macintosh computers. Now, a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but no, the Macintosh was not king of desktop publishing. The Atari ST was. Desktop publishing was actually the best on the Atari ST. And the Atari ST version of this program was the finest desktop publishing program available. That's right. A lot of people switch, a lot of companies, you know, companies that that use desktop publishing to make money, they switched over to the Atari ST from the Macintosh because the Atari ST was just so much better at desktop publishing. I was never really into sports games. I always thought sports games were boring. But I know a lot of people are into sports games. It's just not my cup of tea. It's just not my cup of tea, boys and girls. Not my cup of tea. I have, I think, all of the Dr. T's music software, which I will show on my channel. I will show you how to use this software because I have a really nice MIDI keyboard. So stay tuned for those exciting music videos. I have several of these drives. One of them I'm going to keep for my personal collection, but I have a couple of others that I'll be selling real soon on eBay. I think I'll sell them for 130 bucks each, and they'll probably sell for that price. Yeah, they'll probably sell for that. Now we're getting to the part of the magazine where it's mostly all text. Boring! No more pretty pictures. Oh well. No more pretty pictures. Mostly all text. Help wanted. Super corporation. Did you view gold? View Gold. Okay. Well. Alrighty. Well, that's it for this episode of Magazine Mondays. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Hans George Campbell. And until next time.